The story begins with Soo-hyeon, a wealthy woman who serves as the CEO of an entertainment agency. However, her successful career comes crashing down when a man named Hyun-chul releases a video accusing her of abusing her power. Unbeknownst to Soo-hyeon, the video is a carefully edited fabrication orchestrated by Hyun-chul. As a result, she is fired and removed from her position, while Hyun-chul seizes control of the company. Amidst the ruins of her career, Soo-hyeon discovers the hidden talent of a high school student named Yoo Jin, a boy from an impoverished background. Abandoned by his own mother, Yoo Jin dreams of becoming a famous singer in Korea. Initially, he refuses to be mentored by Soo-hyeon, but with his mother owing her a staggering 200 million won, Yoo Jin has no choice but to comply. Recognizing Yoo Jin's exceptional singing ability, Soo-hyeon devises a plan to transform him into a star, only to sell him off afterward. The money from this transaction will be used to purchase a factory, which she intends to give to her son, Jin-woo, who, coincidentally, is Yoo Jin's classmate. With Yoo Jin having nowhere to stay, Soo-hyeon brings him to live with her. However, her husband, Jun-suk, strongly opposes Yoo Jin's presence in their home. Despite his objections, Soo-hyeon persuades her husband, arguing that Yoo Jin's talent is extraordinary and that selling him as an artist will secure their son's future. Yet, Jun-suk firmly rejects this unethical scheme, believing that sacrificing someone else's future for their own child is cruel and unjust. In the end, feeling frustrated by his wife's relentless ambition and single-mindedness, Jun-suk decides to divorce her. Realizing that her marriage is crumbling, Soo-hyeon takes Yoo Jin to meet his biological mother in hopes of obtaining her blessing for their journey ahead. However, Yoo Jin comes from a deeply troubled family. His parents care only about money and treat him as nothing more than a cash cow. As a result, Yoo Jin refuses to see his mother. Confronted with this harsh reality, Soo-hyeon becomes even more determined to train Yoo Jin seriously, ensuring he rises to fame as a singer. Over time, she provides him with warmth and care, making him feel safe and valued. Yet, one night, Yoo Jin secretly leaves Soo-hyeon's home to meet Chris, a friend who warns him not to be deceived by Soo-hyeon. Apparently, Chris is convinced that once she achieves her goal, she will discard Yoo Jin without hesitation. Sometime later, Soo-hyeon prepares to enroll Yoo Jin in a prestigious audition and enlists the help of a friend to coach him. Even Jun-suk, despite his plans to divorce Soo-hyeon, steps in to assist. Unfortunately, when Yoo Jin attempts to sing, his performance is uninspiring due to his lack of focus. Later, as Soo-hyeon and Yoo Jin leave, their coworker questions Jun-suk about his decision to divorce Soo-hyeon. At that moment, Jun-suk expresses his frustration, describing Soo-hyeon as a stubborn wife who refuses to compromise and always makes unilateral decisions. Not long after, at school, Soo-hyeon's son, Jin-woo, remained a quiet and friendless student even after 3 years. He was often bullied by delinquents, but Yoo Jin stood up for him and offered his support. With Yoo Jin's help, Jin-woo finally experienced the warmth of friendship and even met a girl named Gi-young, whom he secretly admired. For the first time, Jin-woo invited Gi-young to his home to celebrate his father's birthday. During that moment, he caught a glimpse of her beautiful smile, which left a lasting impression on him. Meanwhile, Soo-hyeon delved into Yoo Jin's past. According to his biological mother, Yoo Jin had always been a reserved child who bottled up his emotions, sometimes resorting to self-harm as an outlet. One day, Yoo Jin was assigned a risky task by Chris, delivering both a VIP guest and illegal drugs. However, he became distracted while driving and caused an accident. In his rush to flee the scene, he accidentally dropped Soo-hyeon's business card, which could be used to falsely implicate her. Unexpectedly, the drug business was being run by none other than Hyun-chul. Despite being aware of the dangers of his job, Yoo Jin felt trapped as Chris held leverage over him, knowing his darkest secrets. One night, Soo-hyeon caught Yoo Jin sneaking out of the house. Along with her husband, she secretly followed him to his workplace, only to be shocked by Yoo Jin's close connection with Chris. Seizing the opportunity, Chris threatened to report Soo-hyeon, framing her as the owner of the drugs found in the car Yoo Jin had previously driven. Yoo Jin was left speechless, realizing that the person who genuinely cared for him was now at risk of facing legal trouble. Although Jun-suk was determined to divorce Soo-hyeon, he could not stand by and watch her struggle alone. He sought out Gi-young, who was close to Yoo Jin, to learn more about his past. According to Gi-young, Yoo Jin had never truly experienced love and often resorted to self-harm to cope with his pain. Touched by this, Jun-suk asked Young to support Yoo Jin in preparing for the prestigious audition, in which she would also be competing. During their training, Yoo Jin sang freely for the first time, leaving everyone in awe. At the same time, Jun-suk acknowledged his talent and offered to help Soo-hyeon train him. He stated that this would be their final task together before they went their separate ways. As the highly anticipated Star Rise audition arrived, Soo-hyeon remained by Yoo Jin's side throughout the 3-day selection process. Her unwavering support allowed Yoo Jin to stay focused and determined not to disappoint his mentor. In the end, Yoo Jin captivated the Korean media and finally found a sense of belonging, being treated like family at home. This revelation drove Yoo Jin to make a bold decision. He quit working for Chris. However, Chris warned him that Soo-hyeon would soon discover that Yoo Jin was the one who had recorded her abusing her power at the agency. That incriminating footage was in the possession of both Chris and Hyun-chul, who had already made it public as part of their revenge. The story then flashes back to 10 years ago when Hyun-chul's younger sister, Yoon-hee, who had been working under Soo-hyeon, tragically lost her life. It was revealed that Yoon-hee was forced to consume excessive alcohol by an investor collaborating with Soo-hyeon. At that moment, Hyun-chul blamed Soo-hyeon for Yoon-hee's death, revealing the true motivation behind his actions all this time. Returning to the present, Soo-hyeon learned that Yoo Jin had recorded her, yet she still chose to trust him. She then stepped in to protect Yoo Jin from Chris's threats. Now, Soo-hyeon was genuinely invested in helping Yoo Jin, not just in improving his singing skills, but also in breaking his self-destructive habits. In the end, she wrapped a scarf around his scars, symbolizing her care, which inspired Yoo Jin to reciprocate her kindness by winning the Star Rise audition. As the competition progressed, both Yoo Jin and Gi-young advanced to the next round. Contestants were now prohibited from leaving the audition venue or using their phones. Meanwhile, Hyun-chul is seen threatening Ji-chul, the competition's organizer, forcing him to ensure the victory of Hana, his representative in the Star Rise contest. He blackmailed Ji-chul with evidence of his past drug transactions. Elsewhere, Jin-woo faced bullying again, and one of Yoo Jin's friends sent him a video of the incident. Acting quickly, Yoo Jin, who was in the audition dormitory, rushed out to help Jin-woo, leaving the place despite the strict rules. Fortunately, he ran into Soo-hyeon, and together, they quickly returned to the dormitory. Upon their return, the producer informed them that Yoo Jin had become a sensation across Korea due to his impressive performance in the preliminary round. As a result, multiple entertainment companies were eager to recruit him. The next day, despite her growing affection for Yoo Jin, Soo-hyeon remained committed to her initial plan to sell Yoo Jin to another agency to secure enough money to purchase a factory for Jin-woo. Meanwhile, at the dormitory, Yoo Jin was paired with Kim Eddie for a duet performance. Their practice sessions were broadcasted on television, where Hana struggled noticeably while being partnered with the talented Gi-young. During the duet round, Yoo Jin and Kim Eddie delivered an outstanding performance, leading the public to speculate that Yoo Jin would be the winner. In contrast, Hana's performance was weak, causing Gi-young to stand out more. However, under pressure from Hyun-chul, Ji-chul manipulated the audio, making it appear as if Gi-young had performed poorly instead. As a result, Gi-young was unfairly eliminated, while Hana advanced to the top for alongside Yoo Jin and Kim Eddie. The next day, during a practice session, Kim Eddie delivered a message from Chris, instructing Yoo Jin to deliberately sing poorly and get eliminated from the competition. If Eugene refused, Chris threatened to reveal the car accident Eugene was involved in while working as a drug courier to Soo-hyeon. Hearing this, Eugene fell silent, realizing he had to bury his dream in order to protect his mentor's reputation. As the final 4-round approached, which was set to be broadcast live, Soo-hyeon and Jun-suk arrived to support their students, Eugene and Guillaume. However, upon arriving, Soo-hyeon realized that Eugene was nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, Eugene was on the verge of doing the unthinkable, but fortunately, Soo-hyeon arrived just in time. Understanding Eugene better than anyone, she managed to calm him down and persuade him to continue his journey. When a moment arrived for Eugene to perform, he hesitated, leaving the audience in shock. Then, unexpectedly, Eugene performed a song that had not been pre-approved. Although his performance was exceptional, he was disqualified for violating the competition rules. Back at home, Eugene finally confessed the threats from Chris and admitted to the car accident. He explained that he had intentionally eliminated himself to protect Soo-hyeon's reputation. As a result, Soo-hyeon and Jun-suk were left speechless, realizing that Eugene had once worked as a drug courier. Furious that Chris had interfered with her life once again, Soo-hyeon boldly confronted him. She offered a large sum of money to silence him, but Chris revealed the truth. Eugene had never actually transported drugs. Instead, Chris had done it himself to keep Eugene out of harm's way, as he saw him as a younger brother. Realizing that Chris was not entirely evil, but was trapped under Hyunchul's influence, Soo-hyeon offered to help him break free from Hyunchul's control. Despite being eliminated from the competition, Eugene remained a hot topic in South Korea. A popular TV program even documented his daily life, further increasing his fame. As time passed, Eugene successfully entered the Korean music industry. However, amid his rising success, he faced a heartbreaking betrayal. Soo-hyeon sold him to an entertainment agency for an astonishing price. Eugene was devastated, believing that the warmth and care Soo-hyeon had shown him were genuine. But in the end, she had treated him like a commodity, selling him without his consent. It was too late to change anything. The transaction had already taken place. The money from the deal was used by Soo-hyeon to purchase a factory for Jin-woo. Unaware of the betrayal, Jin-woo was delighted with the new factory, not knowing that it was funded by Soo-hyeon's deception of Eugene. On the other hand, Eugene seemed to accept his fate and became determined to prove himself. He vowed to show Soo-hyeon that he would rise to stardom on his own. Joining the new agency propelled his career even further, making his name even more prominent. Eugene soon became the face of several major brand advertisements, solidifying his place in the industry. Meanwhile, at the audition event, Hana successfully advanced to the finals. However, Korean media was soon abuzz with controversy as evidence of Hana cheating surfaced. A leaked video exposed her poor singing performance, further validated by the testimony of a former subordinate of Ji Cheol, who revealed that Hana should have been eliminated in the previous round. As a result, the public's opinion turned against Hana and her team. To divert attention from a scandal, Hyunchul, the head of Hana's agency, released CCTV footage showing Eugene at an illegal club. With this revelation, the public quickly judged Eugene as unfit to be an idol, accusing him of indulging in alcohol. The situation worsened when a group of delinquent students, whom Eugene had once confronted, falsely testified that he was a bully who extorted and assaulted other students. This successfully shifted the spotlight away from Hana's scandal and instead destroyed the rising career of Eugene. Jin-woo, still unaware of his mother's betrayal of Eugene, was devastated by the accusations. As a loyal friend, he decided to visit Eugene. There, he found Eugene relapsing into his old self-harming habits due to immense stress. This distressing scene was also witnessed by Eugene's fellow idols and his manager. Elsewhere, Soo-hyeon, worried about Eugene, decided to visit him, but she was involved in an accident on the way. Fortunately, the accident did not cause severe injuries, but her doctor advised her to rest. Despite this, her concern for Eugene drove her to leave the hospital against medical advice. When Soo-hyeon finally met Eugene, he coldly questioned her intentions. Was she there to pity him or to mock his downfall? Realizing the depth of his disappointment in her, Soo-hyeon felt powerless to make amends. The following day, Jin-woo urged his mother to take action to clear Eugene's name. However, Soo-hyeon dismissed the matter, saying that Eugene was no longer her concern. She reminded Jin-woo that Eugene had been sold to a major agency, and it was their responsibility to handle the scandal. Hearing the word sold, Jin-woo was struck with the realization that the factory his mother had gifted him was built upon the betrayal of the only true friend he had, Eugene. Overwhelmed with guilt and disappointment, he left without showing any respect to his parents. Unable to accept the situation, Jin-woo decided to shut down operations at his new factory, putting all workers on temporary leave. Meanwhile, Eugene was left to bear the burden of the scandal alone. He was pressured into making a public confession for crimes he had never committed. However, just as he was about to speak, Soo-hyeon suddenly arrived and stopped him. She revealed that all the accusations against Eugene had been fabricated to distract the public from the audition and agency corruption scandals. Determined to reclaim Eugene, Soo-hyeon even offered to buy back his contract, even willing to return the money she had received for selling him. However, Hyun-chul set an exorbitant price for Eugene's release, forcing them into a fierce competition to win him back. Desperate to raise funds quickly, Soo-hyeon decided to sell her factory. However, she soon realized that selling a business was not as simple as she had anticipated, as most potential buyers were offering significantly lower prices than expected. Meanwhile, Jun-suk sought out his longtime rival, Bong-yu, who was once Soo-hyeon's former lover. Desperate to help Soo-hyeon, Jun-suk attempted to borrow 1 billion won from Bong-yu, but his request was denied. Bong-yu had already invested heavily in Hyun-chul, giving him the upper hand. Realizing he had been outmaneuvered, Jun-suk fell into silence. Amidst the despair, Soo-hyeon received an unexpected call from her estranged father, who offered financial help on the condition that she forgave him. It was revealed that their relationship had been in ruins ever since her father abandoned Soo-hyeon's mother for another woman. However, now he was alone, seeking redemption, and willing to provide whatever Soo-hyeon needed. Despite this, the problem didn't end there. Hyun-chul had already secured Eugene's contract. Just when all seemed lost, Bong-yu made a surprising move. He withdrew all his investments from Hyun-chul, tipping the scales in Soo-hyeon's favor. At the same time, Hyun-chul found himself under police scrutiny after Ji-cheol testified that the drugs he had used were supplied by Hyun-chul. Later, when the police raided Hyun-chul's residence, Chris managed to secure crucial evidence, including CCTV footage. Furious, Hyun-chul ordered Chris to release footage of Eugene allegedly taking drugs, hoping to frame him. However, Chris, fed up with being Hyun-chul's puppet, chose a different path. He met with Soo-hyeon, handed over the evidence, and entrusted Eugene to her care, declaring his intent to turn himself into the authorities. Before doing so, Chris visited Eugene one last time, urging him to trust and cherish Soo-hyeon, as she had always been genuine in her love and support. Meanwhile, the final round of the Star Rise audition took place, this time free of any fraud, leading to Hana's humiliating defeat. Later, at the police station, Hyun-chul faced Chris, who revealed everything. Unable to escape justice, Hyun-chul was sentenced to prison. Over time, Eugene regained the trust of the Korean public. His schoolmates rallied behind him, showing their full support for his career. Soo-hyeon even composed a song for him, reflecting his journey of betrayal and resilience. The song captivated audiences, and on its first day of release, it soared into the top 10 charts, further solidifying Eugene's rising fame. As his career flourished, he also reconciled with his mother. Moved by the emotional depth of the song, she abandoned her obsession with money and wholeheartedly supported him. At the height of Eugene's success, Soo-hyeon made a surprising decision. She transferred him to Korea's largest entertainment agency, home to some of the nation's biggest stars. Unlike before, she did not profit from the deal. Instead, she did it purely for Yoo Jin's growth, knowing he needed more than she could offer. Though he accepted her decision, Yoo Jin pleaded with Soo-hyeon to stay by his side. However, Soo-hyeon chose to leave everyone behind. She left a letter explaining that she was going far away with no certainty of return. 2 years later, Jun-suk became the CEO of Pandora Entertainment, taking over from Hyun-chul. At the same time, Jin-woo found success as the CEO of a small company, content and proud of his achievements. Meanwhile, Chris, now a free man, had turned his life around and started anew alongside Hana, who had retired from the entertainment industry after the disgrace of her cheating scandal at Starrise. And now, Yoo Jin has become a famous idol, with his albums reaching the global market and his tours spanning multiple countries. However, amidst all the success, no one knows the whereabouts of Soo-hyeon, who has completely cut off all connections. Eventually, Yoo Jin is heartbroken, feeling abandoned by the mentor who was also his first love, the one who had truly touched his heart. This emptiness drains his passion for his career, causing him to disappoint his fans on several occasions. Then, one day, after 4 years of absence, the first person Soo-hyeon meets again is none other than Yoo Jin, her cherished student, the one who had once filled her life with meaning. And with that, the story comes to an end. Moral lesson from the story: if you fake a scandal to ruin someone's career, make sure they don't have a hidden talent for singing, otherwise, you might end up in jail while they become a superstar. Also, always keep a spare scarf for emotional scars, because you never know when you'll need to wrap up a broken heart.